Fear existed long before civilization had a name. Before cities rose from the ground and laws were carved into stone, fear lived in the human mind as a survival instinct. It was the quiet signal that kept early humans alive. The rustle in tall grass meant danger. The sudden silence of birds meant predators nearby. Fear sharpened senses, forced attention, and demanded obedience to instinct. Those who ignored it rarely survived long enough to pass on their blood or their stories. In a world without shelter or certainty, fear was constant. Storms could erase entire groups overnight. Hunger stalked every failed hunt. Darkness hid threats that could not be seen or reasoned with. Fear became humanity's earliest form of knowledge. It taught caution. It taught memory. It taught restraint. Long before humans learned how to build, they learned how to fear. As humans gathered into tribes, fear became shared. Survival was no longer individual. One person's fear became everyone's warning. Stories were told not for entertainment, but for protection. Tales of beasts, spirits, and cursed places carried lessons. Fear preserved experience across generations. It turned memory into myth. These early beliefs were not superstition alone. They were survival tools shaped by terror. Fear also defined belonging. Those inside the group were protected. Those outside were unknown and dangerous. This division laid the groundwork for identity. Tribe became safety. Outsider became threat. Long before borders existed, fear drew invisible lines between people. Cooperation grew within groups, but suspicion hardened toward others. Civilization's roots were planted in this division. As time passed, fear began to influence behavior beyond survival. It shaped hierarchy. Those who seemed fearless were followed. Those who promised protection gained authority. Leadership emerged not from kindness, but from the ability to manage fear, either by confronting it or controlling it. Strength reassured, confidence calmed. Fear elevated individuals into leaders long before crowns or titles existed. Nature itself became feared and revered. Lightning, floods, eclipses, events beyond understanding demanded explanation. Fear gave birth to gods. Invisible forces made sense of unpredictable danger. Worship became a form of negotiation with fear. Offer respect, and disaster might pass you by. Fear transformed into belief, and belief became structure. These early belief systems did something powerful. They made fear permanent. Danger was no longer limited to physical threats. It extended into morality, behavior, and thought. Fear followed humans into sleep and solitude. Even alone, people were watched. This internal fear was revolutionary. It controlled behavior without force. As humans slowly transitioned from nomadic life to settled existence, fear did not disappear. It adapted. Villages formed to keep danger out, but fear moved inside. Hunger, disease, and conflict took new forms. Proximity created tension. Trust became selective. Fear taught rules. Don't steal. Don't disobey. Don't anger unseen forces. Civilization began as organized fear. The earliest laws were born from fear of chaos. Punishment was less about justice and more about prevention. One act of suffering warned many. Fear made order efficient. It required fewer resources than constant conflict. It taught people what not to do. Civilization advanced, but fear remained its foundation. Even as tools improved and shelters strengthened, fear continued shaping choices. Where to settle? Who to trust? When to fight? When to submit? Fear determined which ideas survived and which were abandoned. It guided innovation, but also limited imagination. Safety mattered more than possibility. By the time the first civilizations emerged, fear was no longer just instinct. It was culture. It was memory. It was tradition. It lived in stories, rituals, and unspoken rules. Civilization did not replace fear, it organized it. Fear was older than civilization, and civilization was built around it. As civilization expanded, fear did not fade. It evolved. What once warned humans of predators and storms was now shaped into a tool of control. Cities rose, populations grew, and fear learned new languages, laws, symbols, rituals, and authority. It no longer needed the wilderness. It lived within walls. Rulers quickly understood what fear could do. Loyalty built on trust took time. Fear worked instantly. It demanded obedience without explanation. Early states used fear to enforce order, not only through punishment, but through constant reminders of consequence. People learned what was allowed by watching what happened to those who crossed the line. Fear turned examples into lessons. As societies grew more complex, fear became quieter. Public violence was effective but unstable. Too much terror risked revolt. So fear adapted again. It became invisible. Surveillance replaced spectacle. People no longer needed to see punishment. They needed to believe it was possible. Uncertainty became a weapon. When danger felt unpredictable, caution became permanent. Fear reshaped how people thought. It trained individuals to anticipate authority, to censor themselves, to obey before being commanded. Over generations, fear became inherited behavior. Children learned it not through force, but through observation, tone of voice, silence at the wrong moment. Warnings passed quietly. Civilization learned to discipline itself. This internal fear created the illusion of stability. Streets were calm, rules were followed, resistance seemed gone. But beneath the surface, something critical was disappearing: trust. When fear ruled, honesty became dangerous. Advisors spoke carefully. Citizens hid their thoughts. Reality became filtered. Power grew blind. History shows that when fear becomes the foundation of rule, systems weaken from within. Decisions are made without truth. Leaders surround themselves with silence and mistake it for devotion. Warnings vanish. Problems are ignored until they explode. Fear suppresses rebellion, but it also suppresses correction. People adapted in quiet ways. Resistance no longer looked like rebellion. It looked like withdrawal, obedience without belief, compliance without loyalty. Civilization functioned, but its spirit eroded. When crises arrived, fear failed to unite. It isolated. Fear could enforce order, but it could not inspire sacrifice. When societies needed cooperation, trust mattered more than terror. Empires built on fear collapsed suddenly, not always to invasion, but to internal decay. They appeared strong until the moment they weren't. Even when fear-based systems survived, they left deep scars. Generations grew disconnected from purpose. morality blurred. Survival replaced meaning. Innovation slowed. Fear punished risk, and progress requires risk. Civilization advanced outwardly, but inwardly stagnated. The most dangerous illusion fear created was permanence. Every generation believed it could manage fear better than the last, that control could exist without consequence. History suggests otherwise. Fear always demands more. More silence, more obedience, more distance from truth. Today, fear still shapes civilization. It hides in systems, narratives, and invisible pressures. It influences behavior without announcing itself. The environments are different, but the instinct remains unchanged. Fear still promises safety, and still charges the same price. Fear was humanity's first teacher. It helped us survive when nothing else could. But what once protected us also limited us. Civilization rose on fear's foundation, but it continues to struggle under its weight. Fear is older than civilization. And as long as humans exist, it will remain one of its most powerful and most dangerous architects.